Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It is Thursday evening, which means it is match preview show time. And I'm pleased to say that I'm joined on the back of last Sunday's victory for the Lionesses by Charlotte. You can find her on Twitter. She is at CharXRAFC. Obviously, is a Rochdale fan. She does co-host the Dale Way podcast, and she is the Rochdale ambassador for HerGameToo, which we are going to talk about. First of all, Charlotte, appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on the scene. I know you've not got in from work long ago, so cheers for that, and I hope you're well.
No, thank you so much for inviting me on. It's an absolute pleasure, and I hope you're okay too.
Very well, thank you, and hopefully
Good stuff.
I'll still be okay come 5 p.m. Saturday. But we'll get on to that in a little while. I want to talk about HerGameToo first.
Yeah.
Like I've said, you are the ambassador for Rochdale. It's been a great summer in terms of the Lionesses. I watched all the England games, and I must admit, because obviously we had the men's Euros last season, and we know we got to the final and then lost on penalties. I watched it this summer and thought, right, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to be as invested as I can. Not for 1 second did I imagine that I would get as emotionally involved as I do with the men's one, and that's not detrimental or disrespectful to the women's game. It's just that I've been brought up on men's football.
Yeah, of course.
The coverage of the women's game is very new in terms of the lengths and the extent that we're getting it shown now on the telly, which I think is brilliant. But yeah, I got right into it. I was crying at the end of full time when we'd won. It was nice to be sitting there and crying tears of joy watching an England team, because we know how it usually ends with the men. It's penalty shootouts or semi-finals or final defeats. What have you made of the summer? And just as a more general thing, how has HerGameToo been for you since they launched it about 14, 15 months ago now?
Yeah, well, I completely agree with you. Like, I'm a female and I've always been brought up, obviously, watching a man's game. I first started obviously going with my dad to watch Rochdale, and it's very new to me as well watching women's football. And I will admit, obviously, I'm helping HerGameToo and I'm an ambassador for HerGameToo, but this was my first proper women's tournament that I have watched. And I'll openly admit that it's very new for women's football side, not only to like me, but people in general, like you said. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I've not got any nails left because I've been biting my nails all the way through the final. But yeah, it was amazing, and it was so refreshing to see as well so many fans there, because obviously we all support the men's team. We all put our flags up, we all wear our shirts and stuff for competitions, we all get hyped up. But it was really refreshing seeing so many people enjoy watching the women's football. And my little boy, I've got a 7-year-old little boy, and he was excited to obviously watch women's football as well. And it's amazing, and I really did enjoy the tournament. As much as I thought it was going to go to penalties, another England-Germany penalty shootout, I was so happy when obviously we scored, we won. I was emotional as well, because it kind of puts into perspective as well everything that we're trying to do within HerGameToo. And in the morning, actually, I don't know if you've seen it, but we actually released like a HerGameToo video, and it was a poem.
That's what Paige asked me to retweet. The Gills ambassador just sort of started doing that. She said, "Can you retweet it?" Yeah, and I watched it, and I thought it was very, very emotive and moving, and really sort of hit the spot in terms of what you was trying to achieve. And I remember retweeting the original one last year that went absolutely mental. I think had over, it was over millions of views. It was crazy, and I think it's brilliant to see.
Yeah, of course, and it's just, we obviously got the word out then and showing our support, obviously as the campaign itself, but then seeing so many people invested in the women's Euros. Obviously we won as well, and it's just a great feeling, like being part of it. Obviously the Lionesses are obviously influencing more females to get involved. They're inspiring obviously more not just females, like males and stuff, and to go watching the football. And hopefully I'm not going to say it's going to be a massive change overnight, but I'm hoping it's going to be like a positive change and a positive impact. And what I've seen from social media, obviously you get your trolls and stuff, but it seems to be really like taking off, and hopefully, long may it continue.
Haven't the Lionesses released some sort of publication in the last few hours saying this has to be the beginning. I've not read it yet.
Yeah, I think they wrote a letter, and
That's
they
it.
basically just said, yeah, it's the beginning of it. And obviously we were speaking about it just before we came on, and we mentioned obviously getting tickets to the next game against USA, and I think they sold out within 24 hours. And not just the Lionesses, but earlier on in this, I think it was last season, was it the El Clasico, and that broke records for the highest attendance as well. And it's mental, but from a personal point of view, and obviously I'm an ambassador for Rochdale, so the campaign itself is made up of we've got the lead team, which is the main team who obviously founded the campaign, and then there's obviously ambassadors for each team. And what we're trying to do is obviously build a safe environment for females to attend, whether it be fans, whether it be someone who works at the clubs, whether it be like a player's family or friends who go and visit. And basically we're just trying to encourage people to go, but also build a safe environment. And luckily for me, myself, my time watching Rochdale, I'm 30 now, and I've been watching since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I've never had any trouble actually at games. It's always been on social media. But yeah, it's just trying to build that safe environment and just encouraging like the younger generation to go as well, and just kind of educate people that it doesn't just have to be a man's game. And as much as it's her game too, you see it on social media where men think we're trying to take over. We're not. We just want to be equal. We just want to enjoy it and not be looked upon or made to feel like we can.
I think, I don't know, and I'm not speaking for everyone. I just feel that these men who respond in the way that they choose to do, and let's be honest, the vast majority of them hide behind a profile picture that's not them.
Yeah.
And this isn't me sitting here saying, you know, I'm holier than thou and I'm faultless or anything like that. But you see the comments that they make, and it's the generic ones, isn't it? I have kids watch this, so I'm not going to say some of them, but the things like you belong in the kitchen, you don't know the offside rule. I think
make me a sandwich.
That's it. Yeah. Do you think it's not more the fact that they're probably a little bit more insecure and worried that there are women out there that potentially know more about the game than they do?
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, it's quite funny really, because I always get I go on Twitter Spaces as well and just talk about football and like knowledge of football and stuff. And the one I get the most is, oh, for a woman, you actually know quite a lot about football. And I think, what has it got to do with the fact I'm a female? I'm just a person who obviously, well, I say I know a lot about football. I'm a Rochdale fan, so clearly I can't. I've been suffering for many years. But yeah, I think that even that's like degrading, because you just think just because I'm a woman, it doesn't mean that I shouldn't know about football. It's just an interest at the end of the day, what everyone can enjoy.
That's it. So, and that's what I tweeted that before the final, and I said, forget whether this is men's football, women's football, boys, girls. I said, this is England v Germany. This is a major European final. I said, this is just England. That's what we've got to get. And like you say, you've got to get it away from that bit where they say, oh, for a female, you know a lot. You're just a football fan at the end of the day. You don't see, and I know I'm probably making this a bit old school and a bit generic, but you don't see like someone turn up and go to Jamie Oliver, oh, for a bloke, you're quite good at cooking.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that sounds a bit prehistoric, but it's essentially the same sort of thing.
No, I completely agree.
Well, I'm glad that us male fans that are on board with it are doing their small part. I think it's great, and I hope it does continue to grow. And I think it's brilliant that there are more football fans, more female football fans getting involved. And I know I've spoken to a couple of Bristol Rovers fans last year. I think it was Lucy, and she said she was very sort of apprehensive about doing this type of thing as well. But she's doing it more and more, and I think that's brilliant. And I sort of made the conscious effort when HerGameToo came out to sort of see if there were more female football fans that could come on and do these types of shows with me. I think it's brilliant. And I'm not concerned that if you do know the offside rule more than me, that's absolutely fine. But we've done HerGameToo. I think it's brilliant. Like I say, I've said to everyone I will continue to support it in any small way that I can. But we are here to talk about Saturday, which is Gillingham versus Rochdale. So that was the good part. And now we're going to depress ourselves because we both lost on the opening day. Gills went to Plough Lane to take on fellow relegated side Wimbledon and came away losing 2-0. in what was a fairly insipid performance, unfortunately, and completely the opposite of what we'd seen in pre-season. You lost 2-1 at home to Crewe Alexandra, I think another relegated side. In terms of the performance, the setup, what did you make of it? Positive signs, negative signs?
It was quite a frustrating one. Obviously, I don't want to be really negative because it's first game of the season, so anything can happen. But unfortunately, there's some aspects of last season what we saw creeping in, like the sloppy goals we conceding. Defence seems quite unsettled. First half again, I don't know what it is, but first half we're absolutely atrocious, and that was literally the story of last season. We're atrocious. Obviously, go a couple of goals down, and then we kind of put in a performance second half, but it always seems to be too late. And it's like I said, it's kind of like deja vu from last season. Even the formation, Robbie Stockdale seemed to play a 3-5-2 formation, obviously using wing backs, and he used it the same as last season. It just doesn't seem to work. It really doesn't. And I want to say something positive, I really do, but I am
At least you scored.
worried.
We didn't even score.
Yeah, true. I am quite worried, but at the same time, we are still creating the chances. And as much as it doesn't go off statistics, it goes off goals. And that's what you need, the goals, and obviously not to concede them. The statistics, again, are looking quite good. Obviously, second half, we came out, it made a few changes, and it was a much better performance. But we just need, the first half, for some reason, we just don't seem to kickstart, and it takes us a while to get into the game, and it always seems to be a bit too late. But massive changes for Dale again this season, a total rebuild. What seems to seems to be typical Rochdale.
I think that's the thing in lower league football, isn't it? Unfortunately, unless you're like, a bigger club like Bradford in our division, in Gills, like League One last season, you had like Sunderland's, Portsmouth. They can go and can keep. They've got more pulling power in terms of wages, so they can keep some of their squad together. I always think with clubs like our size, you tend to be bringing in at least 10 players every season, unfortunately, which does make it difficult. I did look at your transfer business throughout the summer. Like I say, I was doing quite a lot of fairly intense research just to try and get up to speed with the division. I generally thought you'd made some really good solid signings, like Richard O'Donnell's very experienced at the level. I thought Ethan Ebanks-Lendl was a decent signing for this league. One I was intrigued with was Callum John, who I thought was highly rated at Doncaster before he picked up an injury. But you just said played a 3-5-2, but I looked on a couple of apps and it seems he was playing as the left side of a back three rather than as a wing back, which I thought he would have operated as. Is that correct? Or
I thought the same. I thought personally play wing back, but he played at the back with Ebanks-Lendl, and I think it was Sam Graham, who's a young lad who obviously we had last season. He got injured, went out on loan, but he seems to obviously he was favoured last game. And then we had on the right wing back, we had Femi Sariki, who we have got on loan. I can't remember who we've got him on loan from. I think it's Sheffield United. And on the left, we usually have Jimmy Keohan, who's quite an experienced wing back. But unfortunately, he got injured in a friendly. He's out for a few weeks. So we actually had Abraham Ado, who's a winger at left wing back, who honestly, looking at him, he can run and run and run, but he's just got no end product. He doesn't seem to really. I can't remember how someone described him. They basically said like he looks like the best rubbish player, like kind of thing. Like he makes himself look good, but I can't remember. I'll have to tag you in it, but it was a tweet and it really made me laugh because it just described him. But he's, like I said, he can run and run and run, but he's just got nothing about him, which is obviously quite frustrating. And then in the middle, we had James Ball, who we signed in January. Good box-to-box midfielder. He scored a few goals end of last season before he got injured, so he's quite a dangerous player. Liam Kelly, he's quite a frustrating player where he's very creative. he has got something about him, but he's quite a lightweight footballer, so he gets pushed off the ball quite easily. So
right, okay.
That's one thing that we really struggle with, because that's where one of our goals come from. Liam Kelly obviously got shoved off the ball quite easily, and then obviously the goal came from that. We've signed another midfielder from Morecambe. I can't pronounce his name. I think it's Tamani Diagoga or something.
Tamani Diagoraga.
Yeah,
So
we
I
call
think
him
they call him
Toombs.
Dave. That's what Walkham fan. I'm sure they call him Dave or
Yeah.
Toombs, to make it easier.
Yeah,
that was one I had as a standout signing. I thought that was a really good signing because he played plenty of games for Morecambe last season.
He did really well. He played really well, and he seemed to be in front of obviously the back three, so it kind of protected them, which was great. That's what we've been lacking. And then obviously we've got the legend that is Ian Henderson up front with Devontae Rodney, who we've signed, and a lot of people were a bit about him, because I think everywhere he's gone, he's shown glimpses of quality, but it's not really taken off.
Yeah.
But in pre-season, he scored a good few goals, and obviously he got on the score sheet on Saturday. And yeah, him and Ian Henderson seem to be having quite a good partnership. And as much as obviously Ian Henderson's 37 now, I do think he's an experienced player who could have a good effect, obviously, on our younger strikers, as well as obviously you can never write him off for a goal. Ian Henderson, he's just quality.
I'm sure he scored against us a couple of times. So
for someone in that league, so yeah, that was our starting 11, and I think it's kind of going to be that starting 11. Obviously, like the next few games, that's probably our strongest, apart from Keohan, who when he's fit, he'd come in instead of Ado. But yeah, that's pretty much starting.
That's going to be my next question. Do you think that Stockdale will stick to it and go with the same 11? Because like you said, it is only one game. We don't want to be writing players off after 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think so. I think there could be a change though, because we signed a defender from Leicester on loan called Ben Nelson, who seems to be quite a highly rated defender, and a lot of Leicester fans have said like he's very good, and they're surprised he's gone to a League Two side. We thought maybe League One. So I think he could possibly come in for Sam Graham. I think that could be one of the only changes. Tyree Sinclair we've signed as well from Scunthorpe. He seemed to be a bit of a danger in pre-season as well. Maybe he could come in, but I think personally he'd stick to Rodney and Henderson, unless obviously with Henderson, with him being that age, it does need to take a break. But yeah, I think personally it'll be the same starting 11, apart from if Keohan's fit, but it doesn't seem likely. And obviously I think Ben Nelson will come in for Sam Graham. I think that'll be the only changes.
Yeah, I was looking at sort of the Gills lineup, and read the comments from the manager today in his press conference, and there's a lot of what you said, Charlotte, is very similar to how we were.
Yeah.
You said about similar problems to last season. We had that. Neil Harris came in and obviously nearly kept us up, but he said we've got to be better in both boxes. We weren't good enough in both boxes last Saturday. I don't know if you've seen the second goal. It's horrendous from our point of view. The cross comes in and our right back decides, I won't move, I won't look, I won't jump. I'll just let the bloke have a free run and head it into the bottom corner. First goal was a good hit. I get that. I know Harry said we could have defended the first ball better, but I thought he was being a bit harsh. It's a great touch and a great volley into the top corner. Sometimes you just have to hold your hands up. But it looks like our captain's still going to be missing. So he's not going to play, I don't think. I think similar to you, I'd probably make one change, and that's purely because the person who come on and nearly changed the game for 15, 20 minutes last week was very good. And looking at how you set up with a back three, I think we might have to go two up top. So I think if I was picking the team, so that'd probably be completely different. I'd go same back four and keeper. I think you've got to give them a chance. That'd be Glenn Morris, Will Wright, Maxime, Elkan Baggett and Ryan Law. I'd bring in Ben Rees for Scott Cashkett and go to a diamond. So I'd have Sean Williams at the base, Dom Jeffries if fit, and Ben Rees from the sides, and then Ollie Lee in the 10. And I'd push Jordan Green on, who's really quick, got loads of direct pace. Upsides, Mika Mandron. So that would be my one change to try and counter you obviously having a back three, because it's going to be difficult if it's just one centre forward up against. But then I suppose the other way, if you play with natural width, you can get in behind the fullbacks, and then suddenly you've got space to run into. So there's lots of things to look at. And Neil Harris is paid to make them decisions. I'm not, so I'll let him make them. Just quickly before I ask for your score prediction, want to speak about your hopes for the season as a whole? I know you lost a couple of decent players.
Yeah.
Well, Connor Grant went to MK Dons for an undisclosed fee. Alex Newby, who'd been around for quite a while, was half decent at the level, has gone to Colchester, I think, on a free transfer. But in terms of where you finished last season, do you think you can improve on that, or would you be happy with similar finish? Or
I personally think, obviously, losing Owen O'Connell, our captain, to Charlton, that was a huge miss. And not only on the pitch, off the pitch, he was a leader and he kind of influenced the other players. He was like a really good role model as well. So obviously we've lost him. But in the same respect, we have gained Ian Henderson, who was also very similar. So, I personally, I think this season it'll be like last season. I think it'll be a completely rebuild. The only good thing that we've got is now Robbie Stockdale's obviously had the experience from last season. He's had a full pre-season now because he obviously didn't get that last season because it was quite late when he came in. A lot of this team, even though there is a couple of Brian Barry Murphy's obviously team, a lot of them now are his team. So it seems like he will have the dressing room now, whereas obviously there may have been last season a few players who weren't maybe keen on Robbie Stockdale or obviously had to stay because they were in contract and thought Brian Barry Murphy was going to be the manager and so on. So I think Stockdale now has got to kind of prove himself because we kind of gave him time last season. We kind of gave him a little bit of a leadway because obviously he didn't have a pre-season and stuff. We were but I personally think I would be more than happy with a top half finish. I really would, because I think some of our fans, obviously, during pre-season, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get promoted, we're gonna get playoffs, this and that." But I personally don't see it. I really don't. As much as we've got like legend Ian Henderson back, we've got some good signings. Even if we did get playoffs, I think it would be a step too soon. I think we need to kind of settle ourselves in League Two, kind of find our feet, get the team to gel together and hopefully then push on. So I would honestly be more than happy with like a top half finish or just below that. Honestly, that's kind of my, obviously it's really good to have ambitions and stuff, but you do need to be realistic as well.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Yeah, I would be really happy with a top half finish.
I had your 15th in my season preview. I did that and predicted league table. I got your 15th. I think your signings, like I say,
I would be happy with that.
Solid.
I'd be more than happy with that.
Where did you finish last season?
Was it 20th? Was it
19th, 20th? I think
19, 20. I can't even, because last season was such like a write-off. I can't even remember.
Don't talk to me about last season.
I know.
Right, the dreaded question before I let you go. Score prediction. I've written mine down, so I won't copy you. I promise.
I am going to go with I'm going to go with 2-2. I'm going to go with a draw.
Entertaining game. Very nice. That'd be decent. I'm not sure my ticker will be able to cope, but we shall see. I have gone a bit optimistic. I think if we can get back to the levels that we were in pre-season, and we don't do anything that we did last Saturday, because that was very, very poor, then I've said 2-1 to Gillingham.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'd be a tight game. I think there's a case, again, there's similarities. Both teams are probably in a slightly transitional period, what with managers that have not been there. I mean, your manager's been there a year, Neil Harris has only been there 7-8 months. So there's still that thing where a lot of players are bedding in and people are trying to learn systems and that type of thing. So I think we could be similar for the first portion of the season, and there's going to be at points where we're very poor while we're trying to sort of sort ourselves out and learn
of course.
how we're meant
we
to
do
play.
leak a lot of goals as well, so you'll definitely score.
Well, we don't score loads,
goals.
so it's either going to be the greatest thriller of all time or it'll be the most dull
0-0.
Right, Charlotte, I really appreciate your time. It's been really good fun. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate
it. Please, Gills fans and other football fans who are watching, Rochdale fans, if you are watching, please comment down below. Let us know your score predictions. Let us know whether you agree with Charlotte, whether that team is going to be what lines up come 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. As I said, I will put Charlotte's details in the description at the bottom of the video. Go and check her out. Go and check out her podcast. Go and check out HerGameToo. Give it a follow. It's a brilliant movement that needs to be supported and continue to be pushed really, really hard. I'll be back Saturday with Boz, maybe Stocky. Glenn is away this week, so we won't be seeing him. He's in Amsterdam enjoying the delights of the Netherlands. But there will be a match day live. It is Thursday, which means tomorrow is Friday. The weekend is very nearly upon us. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you at the weekend. But until next time, up the Gills.